Welcome to Unboxed God, where we detox from religion and discover the God who refuses to fit inside the boxes we were given. I'm Tolu Sarah Johnson, and here we explore who God really is beyond fear, beyond formulas, and beyond everything we were taught to perform. If you're hungry for a real relationship with Him, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Wow, this is going to be the first parable in the next movement, which is the movement of stewardship and accountability. And this is the parable of the talent. Trust tested. Time reveals what commitment was real. This is an interesting parable and has become one of my favorite parables. We've just spoken about surrender in the last movement. Now we're moving to responsibility. Preparation has crossed another line. Awakening demanded awareness. Waiting required endurance. Discernment trained timing. Oil revealed what cannot be borrowed. Counting the cost forced decision. War plans demanded surrender. Now Jesus introduces what inevitably follows surrender: responsibility. If you have laid everything down, you've surrendered. Something will be placed into your hands. Commitment is never the end of the preparation. It is the beginning of accountability. So you need to stay accountable for yourself, for your life, for your destiny, for you to know that you are prepared. Because a lot of people, preparation sound vague. How do I prepare? This parable is laid out in a way that simplifies preparation. That preparation is as simple as daily surrender. Preparation is as simple as using whatever gifting that you've been given, your talent. Preparation is as easy as that, as loving people. But before we dive deep into this parable, let's first of all read the Bible verse for this, which I believe a lot of people have come across. This parable is one of the most popular parables that is out there. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, and each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also, the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I return, I will have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whosoever does not have, even what they have will be taken away from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Wow. Jesus meant business there, isn't it? And there's going to be a day you're going to see Jesus in this way. You will see that gentle, loving Jesus in a very furious way. He'll be so angry with the ones that have wasted the resources that he has endowed with them. A day of judgment is coming. So let's go back into the parable. He entrusted money to them. Matthew 25:14-15, he called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. The parable begins with trust. That's very important. I want you to note that. The master does not test the servant first. He does not interview them. He entrusts them. Preparation has already qualified them. He just entrusts it to them. And this makes so much sense to me because recently I was speaking to Jesus. And Jesus said, Tolu, I asked him a question. I said, a lot of us have let you down, isn't it? He said, yes, Tolu. A lot of my children have let me down. But you'll be surprised. I don't like knowing somebody's mind before I have a relationship with them. I go into that relationship blindly, intentionally. Because if I ask the Holy Spirit will have probably revealed to me that this person is going to disappoint me maybe in 6 months or 7 months time. Is going to leave me. It's going to fail me. It's going to let me down. But I don't do that. It's going to hurt me. But I intentionally do not do that. I start every relationship with trust, intentionally. So Jesus starts with trusting you. I would say Papa's approach is a little bit different. Papa will test you over and over again to test your trust because so many people have let him down. He's got this God. He will put you through fire before he allows you in. But Jesus, just free to us until we're hurting. And he will still come back even when you hurt him. So each servant receives something. No one is excluded. No one is overlooked. We all came to this earth with a purpose. No one came just to wander around. We all have been given talent. And the difference is not whether they were trusted. It is how much and what they did with it. Yes, Jesus is clear. What you are given is intentional, not random. And it is given in proportion to the ability, not ambition. That's the thing. Speaking to Apostle Peter recently, and he said, Tolu, I've tried to share in the suffering of Christ, but the darkness is of Papa, of God, but the darkness that fell on me was too much. I said, so did you return it back? He said, yes, I returned 50%. I don't have the ability to carry more than that. But your husband, Ben, shares in the suffering of God so well. But I can't compare myself to him. And he encourages everyone, do not compare yourself with another person. We've all got different abilities, and God understands that you've given him all his best based on the ability that he has given you. So I will encourage you, stop comparing yourself with other people. We've all got different abilities. I've got a big mental capacity. I could sit down for 10 hours, 12 hours working without not giving myself a break. Not everybody. I've got a friend, he cannot do that. But he has got physical ability that I don't have. He can run miles. I would not be able to run miles. There's no point of me comparing myself to him. So I want you to know that Jesus was not upset because the talent was not, it was used a little bit. It was because it was not used at all. So what we have been given varies, and you never see yourself in comparison to another person, because God will reward you based on what he has given you, based on your abilities. So time will test. Because when you look at this Bible, the Bible verse, it said he then left on his trip. After a long time, their master returned. The phrase "after a long time" matters. This is not a quick test, it is a slow one. Preparation here is examined over duration. Faithfulness is not measured by enthusiasm at the beginning. It is measured by what you do while the master seems absent. Time does not create character, it reveals it. So, what are you doing with your time? Are you giving part of your time to him? Because faithfulness is not measured by enthusiasm at the beginning. It is measured by continuation, being present, being available. So, when you look at the ordinary, the first two servants do the same thing. They go to work, no drama, no spotlight, no spiritual language. They simply act on trust. The reward they receive is identical, not because the results were equal, but because faithfulness was equal. Yes. So if God has given you 2 talents and this one has got 5 talents, the 5 talent might have a big, large stadium where they preach to millions of people, but your church might only have 100. But based on what God has given you, that 100 is what he has given you to cater for. That 1 million is what he has given to that person. Your reward can be the same when you get to heaven, because God is measuring faithfulness that is equal to the ability that he has given you. So Jesus destroys the myth that still worship is about comparison. No, God does not reward volume. He rewards obedience proportionate to trust given. Yes, that is what God rewards. So, when you look at it, the one that did not go anywhere, what did he do? Fear disguised as caution. That is how he presented himself. I was afraid, so I hid your money. This is the turning point. The third servant does nothing wrong outwardly. He does not steal. He does not lose the money. He returns it intact. But he reveals something far more serious. A distorted view of the master. Fear does not excuse inactivity. It exposes mistrust. The servant's problem is not laziness alone. It is relational misunderstanding. He prepares for self-protection, not stewardship. A lot of us have a relationship which is fear-based. We fear God. And because of that, it can lead us to not trusting him. And because we don't trust him, we are not using what he has given us. And when you're not using it, somebody else is paying the price. Because what God has given you is supposed to save that person. But if you do not go, how would that person be saved? So responsibility is very, very important. And you cannot disguise fear as a tangible reason. Imagine if I, at the beginning of this journey, that God gave me an unusual calling, which is speaking to people in heaven, interviewing them at the beginning was scary. I thought so many things. I said, what about people think I am deluded? What about if people start accusing me? There were so many thoughts that came to my mind. But I said, no, I will step in fearfully. A lot of times, these conversations are watched by, I don't know, maybe millions or billions in heaven. But that alone can scare me. But I said, no, I am not going to give in to fear. I will be faithful. Because I trust He that has given me. He knows that I am able to do it. So, the fact that inactivity to God, if you have done nothing, you've done nothing to your life, you just come into this world, you wake up, you're selfish, you care only about yourself. I want you to think that if every other person is like you, how will we be able to meet our needs? If Elon Musk, God has laid it into his heart to build that Tesla car, and he said, I'm not interested, how will families be able to be using it now? So you cannot be thinking in that way, because what Jesus called that inactive disciple is, you wicked and lazy servant. So Jesus is uncompromising here. Doing nothing is not neutral, it is a choice. Fear that refuses responsibility is still disobedient. And preparation that stops at preservation fails the purpose of trust. What was given was meant to be used, not guarded. And when you look for, I said, to those who use well what they were given, even more will be given. So this is not about favorism. It is about capacity. And I've learned that now. My husband only went home to be with the Lord 2.5 years ago. And he told me in my last conversation with him, I said, part of what I do in heaven is I mentor elite, people that have been in heaven for 500 years, for saying, and I'm like, how? How can you that only arrived in heaven 2.5 years mentor somebody that has been in heaven for 500 years? But the real reason is because he's built himself. Every time that he has in heaven, he has given it to God. He has pressed in. So this is not about, God does not favor there's no favoritism with God. It is your response, it is your capacity. What are you giving? I've given him my all. I've given him my time. I've given him my money. I've surrendered all to him. But you know what? He keeps showing me love, and he keeps adding more to what I have. So I can say this has happened in my life. To one that used well, more is given. It's happened in my husband's life in heaven. It has happened in my life here on earth. God has expanded me with so much grace, with so much talent than I ever thought I could have. But that is because I am using what he has given. Jesus said recently, said, Tolu, I am going to tell you this revelation because I know it will get into your book. I know you will write it as book. You wouldn't allow it to just lie there dormant. You will always reutilize whatever I tell you. So I'm always happy to tell you. So Rhemas, inside, deep inside. And I was so glad that Jesus said that, because he is true. I'm always looking for how I recycle the information and teach other people, because I've got the gift of teaching. So I continue to build that gift of teaching to be better and better and better. So use expands trust. So because of that, God has really trusted me more. Jesus has trusted me more. God has trusted my husband more in heaven, because we are using what he has given to us. Preparation does not freeze responsibility, it multiplies it. So the servant who refused to risk lost even what he had. So you can be thinking that why is somebody why does that person have more money, and you can barely have any? Because they keep using the gifting that God has given to them, and it keeps blessing them. So what did he say? Then he said, judgment. Throw this useless servant into outer darkness. This is not sudden cruelty. This is final clarity. The servant's inner posture is now fully visible. Judgment here does not create the outcome. It reveals what was already true. Preparation was offered, trust was given, time was extended. What remained unused could no longer be entrusted. There's no point because he's still not going to use it. So, what's the point? I want you to look at this analogy of the inherited business. Imagine three siblings who inherited family business. All received access, all received resources, all received time. One grows it steadily, another improves it modestly. The third locks the door to keep it safe. Years later, the owner returns. The issue is not success, it is use. The business was not given to be preserved, it was given to be stewarded. Fearful inactivity did not protect the business, it abandoned it. And this is what Jesus is teaching. You cannot abandon the work of God and say that you've abandoned it because of fear. So, when we look at this journey so far, preparation has now entered its testing phase. Awakening restored awareness, watching sustained readiness, discernment aligned timing, oil revealed personal formation, cost demanded decision, war plans require surrender, and now stewardship proves whether surrender was real. So faith that does not act does not remain neutral, it decays. So the question this parable asks is Jesus is no longer asking, are you ready? Are you willing? He's asking, what are you doing with what I entrusted to you while I'm gone? Has fear kept you inactive? Has caution replaced obedience? Has preservation replaced faith? Because time will answer that question. So, this parable makes a shift. Preparation is no longer internal, it is measurable. What do you do with trust? What you do with trust rather determines what you are trusted with next. Yes. What you do with the one that God has trusted you with now will determine what you should be trusted with next. The servant who is prepared does not hide responsibility, they invest it because commitment always leads to accountability and time will always tell the truth. I hope you have been blessed with this parable. See you in the next. God bless.